try to be objective with all of my sports coverage, and listen, Jacy Sheldon objectively should be suspended for this play. I just don't know in what world, in what universe you watch that play back and you go, that was a basketball play. She was trying to make a basketball move, especially with all the angles of
The voices are getting louder. The frustration is reaching a boiling point. Across the basketball world, fans are demanding answers and accountability. The WNBA community erupted after Jacy Sheldon's hard foul on Caitlin Clark, a moment many believe crossed the line. To fans, this wasn't just another play. It was a dangerous incident involving the league's biggest star, one that could have seriously altered her career.
Was clearly targeting Caitlin Clark most of this game, and that is, that comes from a function of, she guarded her in one-on-one situations a lot up the court, and then rolled into a lot of doubles in the half court, but there was talking and chirping all game, and for me, it was punctuated by Caitlin Clark's final play before she came out of the game, where she stares Jacy Sheldon down, essentially demonstrates, she's like, if you poke me in my eye, I will shoot it in yours. And she crosses her, finds the favorite spot, free throw line extended from the logo area, big fuck you 3 to Jacy Sheldon, yells at the Connecticut bench, yells at the crowd. Her and Jacy Sheldon come back together. Caitlin fires up the audience, basically tells Jacy Sheldon, you are a bum.
Fans are getting more and more angry, and the frustration is reaching a breaking point. People all over social media and sports forums are demanding that the WNBA take action after Jacy Sheldon's dangerous hit on Caitlin Clark. Many fans believe the league failed to protect its biggest star, and now they want Sheldon to face a heavy fine. The message from fans is clear. If the WNBA won't stop this kind of behavior with better officiating, then the punishment should be so serious that no one thinks about targeting Clark again.
Every time Caitlin Clark takes the court, her opponents act like they've been booked for a main event brawl. The WNBA is doing nothing about it. Opponents aren't playing ball. They're strategically ambushing her. They're trying to injure her. Opponents bring chaos. She brings composure. And what Sophie did last night is completely valid. The WNBA has to do something about this.
During what should have been a normal Tuesday night game between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, fans saw another example of Caitlin Clark being treated unfairly while the WNBA appeared to do nothing about it. This time, the hit was so obvious and dangerous that even casual viewers could clearly see it was intentional, making the situation hard to ignore.
Jacy Sheldon. There is a legitimate hatred there. If you guys have heard, this Ohio State team, this 2023 Ohio State team, hated that Iowa team. And this is Jacy Sheldon, who was Caitlin Clark's direct matchup in these games. Like I tweeted out, forget Angel, forget Dejanay. This is Caitlin Clark's one true rival.
Sheldon poked Caitlin Clark in the eye during a defensive play, an action that could have seriously injured one of the WNBA's most important players. What made fans even more upset was Sheldon's reaction afterward, which many felt showed it was not an accident. People quickly said this didn't look like a normal basketball play, but a deliberate move against the player who has brought the most attention and new fans to the league.
Funny thing about that whole Caitlin and Jacy situation last night is it's like on a if you know thing. These two have been running a friendly fade on the court for like the last 4 years. They played in college, had great battles, so I'm not surprised last night.
If you're enjoying this, please subscribe. What happened next was just as troubling. After poking Caitlin Clark in the eye, Sheldon stayed aggressive by grabbing Clark's arm and digging her nails into her skin, another foul the referees did not call. Then, while Clark was still reacting to the eye injury, Marina Mabrey added to it by pushing her from behind and knocking her to the floor.
Oh, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player. So it's all good.
The fallout from Sheldon's attack on Caitlin Clark was immediate and intense. Within hours, social media erupted with outrage as fans demanded serious consequences, from massive fines to season-long suspensions. The hashtag Banji Sheldon began trending across platforms, with Clark supporters flooding Sheldon's Instagram with scathing criticism. Comments ranged from calling her unprofessional and bitter to questioning whether she even belongs in a professional league. This incident has brought years of frustration to a boiling point, showing just how protective fans are of the WNBA's brightest star.
From behind or from the side, it's so obvious that she straight up leapt out towards Caitlyn and got her right in the eye. And the more I try and watch it back and you try to be objective, there is no world where this was a basketball play. And yes, she was playing tough defense on Caitlyn up until that point, but she leapt forward, and it's not like it's defensible where you can say she tried to get the ball, because her hand at that point was so far away from where the ball was. It's not like Caitlyn was dribbling the ball up near her face. How she was not ejected for this, I don't know. The broadcast was talking about it, and that's why Sophie Cunningham even had the opportunity to hard foul her at the end. I don't know what you do, but the league's got to do something.
The outrage over Caitlyn Clark's attack reached mainstream media. Jimmy Fallon called out the WNBA on The Tonight Show. What is going on in the WNBA? Protect Caitlyn Clark at all costs. Please, enough of this. Please. Even Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports chimed in, labeling the attackers jealous loser punks and suggesting they play in a league where no one cares. When figures like Fallon and Portnoy publicly criticize the league, it's clear the issue has gone far beyond basketball, shining a harsh light on the WNBA's failure to protect its brightest star.
We'd stop the fighting. He thought they meant the WNBA. What is going on? Protect Caitlyn Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this. Please.
To understand why fans are demanding such severe punishment for Sheldon, you have to grasp the astronomical value Caitlyn Clark brings to the WNBA. The numbers are staggering. According to Dr. Ryan Brewer, an associate professor of finance at Indiana University Columbus, Clark was responsible for 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity during her rookie season alone. That's more than a quarter of the entire league's financial success, while she was earning just $76,535 in her first year. Brewer's projections for 2025 are even more eye-popping. Clark could generate nearly $1 billion in total economic impact for the WNBA this season. That's billion with a B, far exceeding the entire previous history of women's professional basketball. When one player drives that much financial value, allowing her to be targeted and potentially injured isn't just morally wrong, it's economically catastrophic for the league.
Bring Caitlyn Clark to the NBA right now, because the refs ain't gonna protect her. She only got one teammate, and that's her, who gonna do something about it. Like, yo, yesterday, that's malice in the palace activity. Call for it. That y'all should have been throwing hands all over the place. How do you get poked in the eye, then get thrown to the ground, and then you receive a technical foul? And don't none of your teammates want to step up, fight, squabble, none of that. They just looking like, yo, it's been, we know that y'all been targeting Caitlyn Clark now. Now I'm even watching. I'm like, hold on, what? Like, how are y'all letting this happen? How are y'all not protecting this girl? Now, she clearly is a superstar, right? But there's plenty superstars in the WNBA, and don't none of them get treated the way Caitlyn Clark get treated. Now, y'all gonna mess up and ruin the whole numbers, your ratings, your all that, if y'all don't have Caitlyn Clark in y'all's league. So y'all better start acting right. I'm telling you.
The WNBA's response to Sheldon's attack on Caitlyn Clark has been nothing short of pathetic. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul, carrying a laughable $2,000 fine. Marina Maber's technical foul was upgraded to a flagrant 2, resulting in a $400 fine. To put that in perspective, that's less than what most people spend on a nice dinner. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham, who stood up to defend Clark, was hit with a flagrant 2 foul and an additional undisclosed fine. The message is clear. Attack Caitlyn Clark and pay $2,000, but defend her and get punished. The system is completely backwards. Fans aren't just upset, they're mobilizing. Petitions demanding harsher discipline have already gathered hundreds of signatures in just days. Social media campaigns are calling for fines in the tens of thousands of dollars, with some demanding that a portion go directly to Clark as compensation for being targeted. The sentiment is unanimous. The current penalties are completely inadequate for the severity of the offense, and the league is facing mounting pressure to act.
This has been a very contentious 12 hours since the game. A lot of people on ESPN saying ridiculous things, like Monica McNutt saying she had no problem with Marina Mabrey's foul. And I look at that in comparison to the Sophie Cunningham foul, which I have seen people say has no place in the league, unsportsmanlike, when that actually is a lot more sportsmanlike than the Marina Mabrey one. Marina Mabrey was completely disconnected from the play, had nothing to do with it. There was no play even going on when Marina Mabrey did that.
The logic is simple, both from a financial and safety perspective. If Jacy Sheldon's eye poke had caused serious damage to Clark's vision, the WNBA could have lost hundreds of millions in revenue. From a pure business standpoint, the league's approach to protecting Caitlin Clark makes no sense whatsoever. They are sitting on the biggest phenomenon in women's sports history, a player who has transformed attendance figures, TV ratings, and merchandise sales. Yet they're allowing her to be systematically targeted by players with grudges. When teams can't sell tickets without her, when television ratings triple when she plays, and when entire cities reorganize venues to accommodate the crowds she draws. The smart business move is obvious. Protect her through severe financial penalties for anyone who targets her. Consider this. The Indiana Fever's franchise valuation jumped from $90 million to $340 million in just 1 year, almost entirely due to Clark's arrival, a $250 million increase attributable to a single player. When that level of economic impact is on the line, a $2,000 fine for attacking her isn't just inadequate, it's financially irresponsible.
Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent. She was massively successful in college, and that's transcended into the WNBA, where she's leaps and bounds above pretty much most every player there. You're allowing her to get beaten up on the regular during games, flagrant fouls, people trying to take her eye out. That's happened a couple different times last year and this year. And you're not protecting.
Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent. She dominated in college and has carried that dominance into the WNBA, standing leaps and bounds above nearly every player in the league. And yet, the league allows her to get beaten up on the regular during games, flagrant fouls, attempts to poke out her eye, repeated physical targeting over the last 2 seasons, and fails to protect her. Fans are increasingly arguing that Clark deserves direct compensation for the abuse she's endured. The logic is simple. If a player is being systematically targeted in ways no other player in league history has experienced, and if that targeting is tied directly to her massive value to the league, then she deserves financial protection beyond her standard salary. Clark's current salary is a joke compared to her economic impact. She's earning just $78,000 this season, while generating nearly $1 billion in economic activity for the WNBA, a return on investment that would make any business executive swoon. Yet the league allows their golden goose to be attacked with impunity. Fans and analysts have proposed solutions, including a protection bonus system where players who commit flagrant fouls against Clark must pay a percentage of their salary directly to her, or alternatively, the league could provide additional compensation for enduring treatment that goes far beyond normal competition. Given Clark's unprecedented impact on the WNBA's financial success, creating a protection and compensation system specifically for her would be both fair and financially prudent.
One could argue she is an A-level star, and they don't even have B and C-level stars. From A, it drops to D. She is the entire league. And they allow things like this to happen last night against the Connecticut Sun.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
And Marina Mabrey, I missed that one, Edona.
Oh, I missed that one too.
Like, it wasn't just a hard foul accident. Like, there's nothing Caitlin Clark has done in response at this point. So what's the point in bowing up into her face? And immediately, I don't think Caitlin's even extended her arm to push her away. Maybe the coaching is, hey, if you're physical with Caitlin Clark, it's one of the only ways to stop her. Yes. So, like, they're all encouraged to be really physically aggressive. But it's hard not to look at this and think there's animus towards her. You got to protect Caitlin Clark. She is the WNBA.
If the WNBA were serious about protecting its billion-dollar investment, the current fine structure would look completely different. Instead of $200 pocket change fines, meaningful penalties would involve significant percentages of annual salaries. A real deterrent would see players like Sheldon face a minimum of $25,000 for deliberately targeting Clark's eyes or other vulnerable areas. To put this in perspective, that's roughly 10% of a typical WNBA salary, a consequence that would actually make players think twice before attempting similar attacks. For repeat offenders or particularly egregious incidents, fans are calling for fines of $50,000 or more, along with automatic multi-game suspensions. The message must be clear. If you want to play in the WNBA, you respect and protect the player who made the league financially viable. Many supporters even demand that a portion of these fines be paid directly to Clark, both to punish the aggressors and to compensate her for unprecedented targeting.
Caitlin Clark is non-disrespectable. That's not even a word, but I'm going to just use it for the point of my video. You cannot disrespect the nucleus of women's basketball and act like it's not going to be a problem, man. Oh, Caitlin Clark could do this, but other people can't. You goddamn right. Because she's the center of women's basketball. We've said this a million times. Clark changed the game. She is the nucleus, the center, the black hole. Everything revolves around Clark with women's basketball, man, because of her
Part of the fan outrage stems from the consistent failure of WNBA referees to protect Clark during games. Time and again, obvious falls are ignored, flagrant attacks are downgraded, and Clark herself is penalized for defending herself. Fans argue that if referees won't enforce the rules in real time, the league must impose post-game punishments severe enough to compensate for the lack of in-game protection. When Clark is poked in the eyes, grabbed, scratched, or shoved without proper consequences, the league must step in with financial penalties that actually matter. The current system rewards aggression toward Clark while punishing those who defend her, creating a backwards incentive structure. Attacking the league's biggest star becomes acceptable, while protecting her risks fines and ejections, a reality that fans find utterly unacceptable.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. There's jealousy, there is hate. Everyone in the league seems to hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is making the league relevant. If I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would say start your own pro basketball league for women. I don't know why she benefits from the WNBA at all. She could go out, she is the draw for women's basketball, and set up her own league. She might even be able to own the majority of the league. She could probably become a billionaire. Set it up with far fewer teams. You play far fewer games. Heck, they did it with Live Golf. I think the audience would follow Caitlin Clark wherever she goes.
The WNBA's failure to protect Caitlin Clark endangers her career. Allowing unchecked aggression against her only escalates targeting and risks serious injury. Fans, unlike the league, recognize Clark's immense value and the loyalty she inspires. If the WNBA continues to undermine its biggest star, international leagues, especially in Europe, could offer her better protection, respect, and compensation, potentially luring her away to an environment that truly values her. The solution is straightforward, but it requires the WNBA to acknowledge the reality. Caitlin Clark is not just another player. She is the economic engine that drives the entire league. Protecting her isn't just morally right. It's a business necessity that should override all other considerations. Jacy Sheldon's attack on Clark should result in a minimum fine of $25,000, with a significant portion paid directly to Clark as compensation. This would send a clear message that targeting the league's biggest star carries severe financial consequences. Additionally, Sheldon should face a multi-game suspension to reinforce that such behavior will not be tolerated. The WNBA must implement stricter penalties for flagrant fouls against Clark and acknowledge her economic importance. Referees who fail to protect her during games should be replaced, ensuring the league safeguards the player who has become its most valuable asset.